It's a crazy thought, but is it possible to do everything right and still get it all wrong? To have a perfect record, a flawless reputation, but somehow miss the one thing that actually matters most? Well, we're about to look at the story of a church that was strong, faithful, orthodox, and yet completely cold on the inside.
I mean, on paper, this church was a superstar, a model of excellence. They knew the truth, and boy, did they defend it. They worked hard, they hated evil, they called out lies. I mean, these guys had theological purity down to a science. They were everything you'd think a faithful church is supposed to be.
But underneath all that correctness, all that activity, something was critically wrong. Their heart had gone cold. Sure, they defended the truth, but they'd lost the passion for the person of truth. They stood against heresy, but they'd forgotten how to just kneel in simple, heartfelt adoration. We are talking, of course, about the church in Ephesus. This is a congregation that got a direct message from Jesus himself in the book of Revelation. And their story, wow, it is a stunning warning for all of us about how you can have almost everything right and still be right on the verge of losing it all. I mean, just listen to the report card they get from Jesus. It's remarkable. He points out their strengths. They worked their tails off and never quit. They had a righteous, gut-level hatred for evil. They were like doctrinal watchdogs protecting the flock from anyone teaching lies. By every external measure, they were strong, they were faithful, they were orthodox. A solid A+.
And then, boom, the hammer drops. After all that incredible praise, this one single, devastating critique changes absolutely everything. But I have this against you. Can you even imagine hearing those words? And notice the language. They hadn't just misplaced their love or let it fade a bit. They had abandoned it. That's an active choice.
So what does it really mean to lose your first love? This isn't about stopping the work. Remember, they were still working like crazy. It's about the fire behind the work. It's like they loved the word, but they'd completely lost the wonder. They knew all the facts about God, but they just didn't burn for God anymore. This really shows the tragic switch that happened inside them. Delight in God, it just became duty for God. Intimacy with Him was replaced by mere activity. A real encounter with God gave way to just having knowledge about Him. And the wonder, the awe of the Word was lost, replaced by just the mechanics of the Word. They were going through all the right motions, but the heart was totally gone. The great writer A.W. Tozer, he just nails this condition perfectly. He called it the tragedy of being busy for God while being barren before Him. Think about that. It's the ultimate paradox of a soul that's super productive in its service, but completely empty in His presence. It's a powerful warning for any of us who start to value doing over just being.
And look, this isn't just some minor spiritual issue that needs a little tweak. Having truth without love is actively dangerous. It's kind of like having a surgeon's scalpel, but without a surgeon's desire to heal. It becomes toxic, and it leads to some really devastating consequences.
Look at what happens when love leaves the building. Truth, which is meant to heal and set people free, suddenly becomes a weapon to win arguments and beat people down. Doctrine, which is supposed to point us to God, becomes an idol in itself. We get so focused on defending the capital T truth that we start drifting away from the person who is the truth. We end up loving the idea of God more than we actually love God Himself.
But the warning gets even more severe. The consequence isn't just about becoming a harsh person or a church with a bad reputation. No, it's something way more fundamental and honestly way more terrifying.
This is it. This is the final verdict. If you do not repent, I will remove your lampstand. No negotiation, no more chances. This is probably the gravest threat a church can ever receive. But what does it actually mean? The lampstand, you see, it represents the very presence of God, His light, His power, His Spirit within the church. So to have your lampstand removed means the light goes out. It means God is no longer there. A church can survive without a building, without a budget, without a big crowd, but it absolutely cannot survive without His presence. To lose that is to lose everything. But there is a way back. Thank God. It's not some big mystery. Jesus gives a super clear 3-step prescription to cure the spiritual heart disease. It's a direct command for how to get that first love back. Okay, step 1, remember.
And this isn't just about nostalgia. It's about remembering the sheer wonder of grace when you first felt it. Second, repent. That means to turn away from the coldness, from service that's just an obligation. And third, return. Now, this is so important. You don't return to a past feeling or a memory. You return to a person. You return to Jesus himself.
So this entire diagnosis and the prescription, it all really boils down to just one thing: a pursuit. It's about intentionally rekindling a holy hunger. The love of God has to become our first and primary pursuit again, above ministry, above getting recognized, above seeing results.
And what does that pursuit look like? Well, this verse from Psalm 27 just lays it out perfectly. One thing have I desired, that will I seek after, to behold his beauty. That singular, passionate, focused desire, that is first love. It is the engine that fuels everything else: holiness, worship, and real obedience.
And this brings us right to a crucial question we have to ask ourselves. It forces us to look past our actions and right into our motivations. Am I chasing what God can give me, or am I chasing God himself? Do I really hunger for his presence more than I hunger for his blessings? So the final challenging thought is this. Forget for just a moment about what you're doing, all the religious activity, and just ask yourself, when did I last feel it? When did I last feel that simple, uncomplicated, passionate flame of first love? Because remembering that moment, that's the first step back.